Most of us first read the book as children. We remember a sweet, simple story of a boy and his adventure. But the book hits very differently to almost everyone who picks it up again as an adult. The book didn't change. We did. Here are the numbers. Over 200 million copies sold, translated into more than 600 languages and dialects, more than any non-religious book in history. It was voted one of the greatest books of the 20th century by French readers. The German philosopher Martin Heidegger reportedly called it one of the greatest books of existential philosophy. It's 90 pages long. It has pictures. It's shelved in the children's section. Something else is going on. The book opens with a test. The narrator, as a child, draws a picture, a boa constrictor that has swallowed an elephant. Every adult he shows it to sees a hat. Eventually, he gives up drawing and learns to talk about bridge and golf and politics and neckties, like a proper grown-up. That's the first page, and it's already doing the thing that makes this book unstoppable. Saint-Exupery doesn't argue with you. He doesn't lecture. He tells a story so simple that your guard comes down completely. Psychologists call this narrative transportation. When you're absorbed in a story, you stop counter-arguing. The philosophy arrives before you realize it's philosophy. Then there are the archetypes. The prince visits 6 tiny planets, each occupied by a single adult, consumed by a single obsession. A king who commands only what would already happen. A businessman who counts stars he will never touch. I own them, he says, because nobody else before me ever thought of owning them. A drunkard who drinks to forget the shame of drinking. These aren't characters. They're mirrors. And every culture on earth recognizes the reflection because the symbols are drawn from nature and human universals, not from any one religion, tradition, or political system. Each reader maps their own life onto the same open-ended framework. And at the center of it all, the fox. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly, he tells the prince. What is essential is invisible to the eye. These ideas map onto existentialist philosophy, authenticity, care, radical responsibility, but the fox doesn't use those words. He talks about wheat fields turning golden, about sitting a little closer each day, about what it means to tame something. The abstraction is eliminated. What remains is felt. But here's what makes the book different from every other philosophical text. It changes meaning depending on when you read it. As a child, you enjoy a story about a boy visiting planets. As a young adult navigating your first heartbreak, the rose becomes painfully specific. It is the time you have wasted for your rose that makes your rose so important. As a parent watching your child's imagination get slowly flattened, the drawing dismissed as a hat lands differently. The book is a mirror, and the more grown up you are, the more it stings. It tells a story simple enough that you do the work yourself, and the insight you arrive at feels like yours, not the author's. Think about the last time you were too busy to notice something that mattered. The last time you counted something, followers, money, possessions, instead of experiencing it. The adults on those tiny planets aren't strangers. They're us. The book endures because every generation produces the same adults, busy, distracted, measuring everything, seeing nothing, and every generation needs the same reminder. That's why people reread this book at 25, at 35, at 50, and cry at different lines each time. The book doesn't change, but you keep becoming a more specific version of the adult it's warning you about. All grown-ups were children first, but few of them remember it.